Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a great day so far. A few weeks ago came the deadline for filing taxes, and thousands of Social Security recipients found themselves in the position of having to pay taxes for the first time ever, on a percentage of their advantages. The good news is that a plan that would remove taxes on all Social Security payouts is currently in Congress. We will discuss that as well as the possibility that Social Security could be eliminated entirely if current trends continue. Be doing something that it hasn't done in 15 years, so we will also cover that. However, before we get into the primary topic of today's video, would you just do me a quick favor and give this video a like? Just helps with the good old YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Alright, let's get started with our main tale in today's video. As you may have expected, the Trump trial resumed in Manhattan yesterday. We will discuss the key takeaways from this development in this piece, as well as provide a brief update that may include some positive news. According to The Hill, during his Supreme Court hearing regarding presidential criminal immunity from actions committed while in office, the key question is whether or not Trump's potential or actual cover-up of these many activities involved election meddling. Two interconnected concerns are at the core of the case against Trump. The first is whether the records pertaining to payments to Cohen were made before he took office in 2016, and payments that were made to his attorney at the time, Michael Cohen. Untrue. Even if the jury finds them guilty, this is typically only a misdemeanor rather than a felony, because convictions for felonies typically result from the accusation of falsifying business records as part of another crime. Prosecutors argue that the additional but uncharged crime in this case relates to election interference. Prosecutors claim that because the payments to Silence Daniels were made with the intention of hiding information from voters that they otherwise would have known, they had the effect of helping Trump win the presidency rather than just saving him personal embarrassment. Although Trump categorically denies ever having an affair, the prosecutor or prosecution team is essentially alleging that Trump made those payments to Stormy Daniels in order to hide the fact that he was seeing her. Stormy Daniels was paid by Trump in order to suppress the narrative, which would have improved his chances of defeating Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential contest. Now, Trump's staff claims that despite their denials, the affair never happened, stating that he did not want to experience personal disgrace over what it might have resulted in his personal life, even though it wasn't necessarily for the election because he was married to Melania Trump at the time. It might have resulted in a divorce with Melania, so the defense, at least in this case, was arguing that even in the event that the affair did occur, it was more so for him to protect himself from personal humiliation, as opposed to attempting to sway voters in the 2016 election. Whether this would have happened or not, please share your opinions in the comments section below. Additionally, there is positive news regarding the Supreme Court for Trump. Hearing proceeds accordingly, according to The Hill once more. Thursday presented Trump with a divided legal screen. As his attorneys were in Washington arguing before the Supreme Court, he was required to appear in court in New York. The Supreme Court case is. These procedures stem from the January 6th to determine Trump's assertion that he is exempt from prosecution for conduct he committed while president. Read the charges that special counsel Jack Smith brought against President Trump. The Trump team's oral arguments to the conservative court went well. Fairness. The 6 judges, 3 of whom were selected by President Trump, appeared sympathetic to the notion that a distinction may be made between a president's private and official actions. They also appeared receptive to the idea that a measure of immunity would be granted for official acts. So Trump's claim is that he stated certain things around January 6th, even though both his staff and he denied being in charge of the protesters that stormed the Capitol, arguing instead that they should protest in a peaceful manner. They're essentially saying that official activities taken by the president should be immune from any type of prosecution, whereas, perhaps if it's a private act, you should not be exempt, like if you stormed the Capitol and just tried to overthrow the election, or anything like that. If you were to murder someone on your own initiative, that would be considered a private act and subject you to criminal prosecution. Yet, if you were to take an official action or make a political statement as president, you should not be subject to moving on to the main subject of today's film, which is Social Security, as I indicated in my introduction. A few weeks ago, taxes were due, and for the first time ever, it should be interesting to watch what the Supreme Court rules there. Thousands more Social Security recipients were forced to pay Uncle Sam a percentage of their income throughout the year. Fortunately, a plan in Congress is currently being considered that will shortly end all taxes on Social Security benefits. As time goes on and payments increase, almost all beneficiaries will be required to pay taxes on their benefits. This is due to the tax brackets remaining constant over time, despite the fact that cost-living adjustments have allowed us to are witnessing an increase in benefits. Therefore, according to U.S. News Here, Representative Angie Craig, a Democrat from Minnesota, sponsored the You Earned It, You Keep It legislation back in January, which would have eliminated Social Security taxes. The first of the bill's two primary provisions would eliminate the federal income tax on Social Security benefits, which would be accomplished by taxing those who make $250,000 or more annually, as opposed to the current cap on the amount tax that you must pay into the trust fund, which is 12.4% of your first $168,000 approximately of your salary, depending on whether you work for an employer or for yourself. They also mention that this year, certain Social Security, according to the Senior Citizens League, a 2023 study by the Nonpartisan Senior Group revealed that 23% of respondents who have been receiving Social Security for 3 years or more pay taxes on their benefits for the first time. This might mean that beneficiaries will see their benefits taxed for the first time. This year, as time goes on, an increasing number of people will only be required to pay taxes on a fraction of their benefits. Additionally, the cost of living adjustments is currently not keeping up with inflation, which means that these benefits are becoming taxed a minimum amount of them. It goes without saying that you are aware that you will not be able to keep all of your advantages because you are required to pay the federal government for them through taxes. In addition to making it ever more difficult for Social Security recipients to make ends meet, Social Security is planning to implement a change that will be unprecedented in the coming year for the first time in 15 years. According to the Social Security COLA, is expected to reach a significant milestone that it hasn't reached in a long time. Therefore, they claim that the precise rates Social Security seniors will receive in 2025 haven't been decided yet and won't be for some time because the benefits. This is based on third-quarter data from the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, which illustrates the annual increase in prices. They also state that it appears that a COLA price increase will occur in 2025 of 2.6%, and again, we won't know the precise amount of the cost-living adjustment for the following year until something exceptional happens. The COLA will be above 2% for the fourth consecutive year, if that occurs, or if the TSCL is even close to these forecasts. The middle of October, but it appears that unless there are significant changes, the cost-living adjustment will once more be around 2%. This is significant because 2% is regarded as the Federal Reserve's target rate in terms of, once again, interesting things. We won't know for sure until the middle of October, but until then, I will surely keep you guys posted. As far as inflation goes, we're seeing that 4 years in a row now, inflation is greater than the goal rate of 2%. This is all we have for the video today. I sincerely hope you found it entertaining and useful if you watched it again. If you haven't already, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel.